Worst guy in the barracks got assigned to my room. He made me miserable, so I returned the favor. This happened almost 22 years ago now. I had joined the army and was in my second phase of training for my job, what's known as AIT. It's where you go after basic training and is a lot more laid back, but there are still drill sergeants there. They're far more chill than the ones at basic. Anyway, there's a system of gaining more privileges, and because I couldn't take a PT test while my injured legs were recovering, I was stuck at an early phase for too long. I was in a room with another Phase 4 Ranger, and we got along great. Then a brand new kid, straight out of basic, got assigned to our room with us. We were way farther along in our training, so our schedules didn't match up with this new guy. The guy was the biggest, dumbest, ugliest, laziest person imaginable, and he thought he was the person in any room. Every night at lights out, he'd listen to 50 Cent on his headphones, whacked up so loud that I couldn't hear my own music on my own headphones. Every single morning when he had early duty, he'd never get up, and a drill sergeant would beat our door down to go fetch him. He made unbelievable messes in the room, and every single day we'd get in trouble because while my roomie and I were in class, this person would come in from whatever casual duty he was on and mess everything up. Then there'd be extra duty for us every weekend for failing room inspections. I don't know how, but this person got boot polish on the bathroom mirror. He'd snatch up our thing and put it in his wall locker out of pure carelessness and insist that there was no possible way he had it. The one and only time he helped clean the room was when he emptied the garbage can. Once. And he acted like he'd just built the pyramids for us out of pure benevolence the way he went on about how helpful he'd been. And when he wasn't doing all of this, he was picking arguments about what a genius he was. So, we despised him. We'd ask for him to be moved, but the drills would never do it. We wanted to kill the guy. In fact, I still kind of do. Every single day we'd both tell him what a consummate piece of thing he was. Eventually, he came off of casual status and got into class. One of the early parts of that class was land navigation for some reason, and land nav day meant being out there early. That presented me with an opportunity I'd been waiting for. One of those days when he left a giant mess, he also left his wall locker unsecured. So I looked inside to see if there was anything of note, and there was. The combination to the padlock he used on his wall locker. And the best part is that everyone used the same model and color of crappy padlock from the PX across the street, since it was the only thing available. So I went ahead and swapped my lockout with his and left for training. When I got back, he was already back and had been for a couple of hours, since it was an early day with an early release for him. This was Arizona in July, and he'd been scrambling all over the land navigation course in the sun, got back to the barracks to get a shower and change, and he was locked out of his things. Oh boy, he was distraught. Just absolutely at the end of his rope over it. I pretended to be helpful and tried to get it open, but to no avail. So I told him he was gonna have to get a drill sergeant to come cut the lock off. So he went to do that. And while he did, I switched his lock back and kicked back on my bed. When he came in with the drill sergeant, he'd been crying. Everyone who was in the vicinity got to watch him totally break down sobbing, I was told. I was sitting on my bed looking suspiciously innocent, and the drill sergeant in question gave me this smirk. She was no dummy, and she knew I had to be behind it. So she said, "Okay, before I cut your lock off, I'm gonna try the combo just to be sure. What is it?" And he told her, and she opened the lock straight away. My roomie and I couldn't contain our glee. His head just dropped, and he cried some more. He couldn't believe it. He felt so totally defeated and humiliated and worthless right then. This guy was such a high-strung, narcissistic person that this little prank totally crushed him. It was glorious. They moved him out the next day into someone else's room. And that guy, he wanted to murder this idiot as soon as he was moved in. I felt bad for him, but that absolute dirt bag was out of my hair. And I got to see him cry in the bargain. I never told him that I'd punked him. I told some others. They really enjoyed knowing that since they all hated his guts too. Within a couple of weeks, I graduated and went on to my next station. This dingleberry didn't follow. He actually was supposed to follow, but needs of the army screwed him out of the super specialized follow-on training. So he got sent straight into the meat grinder. I never saw him again, though, and that's all that matters. I still take more satisfaction in this than even I can believe. Sometimes you get a chance to get your revenge, and you do it, and it's better than you thought it ever could be. Edited to add, I had my wife and kid living off post and getting duty on the weekends every week seriously cut into the time I was able to spend with my family. I reamed him over this. He didn't give a damn. Did I say that I loathed him? I loathed him. When I say I wanted to kill him, I am not exaggerating. He got me extra duty on my son's first birthday. I appealed to a drill and she cut me slack because she knew it wasn't my fault. But yeah, this dude, absolute menace.